The truth is this: AI doesn't understand a lot of things about what it means to be human. For instance,
Mm,
and what
mm.
that means a lot of things if we're honest. For instance, sarcasm. Try it. AI doesn't understand sarcasm. You get, or what was it called? Are idiomatic expressions in a sense. So why am I saying this? Because the AI has a problem attributing certain emotional cues to the wrong places. So, for instance, if you write a song and the song that you write, you know, let's say you want to say AWO, for instance, let's use the word AWO in our Nigerian dialect, you get AWO. So, when you say AWO, everybody understands what it means as a word and the emotional response that can go into that, you get. And you'll be shocked to see like AI is generating a song, for instance, and the emotion that is attached, the synthesized emotion that is attached to a phrase like AWO doesn't correspond or match with what we understand that phrase to mean. Do you get it? There's a disconnect because it doesn't have like that
Yeah,
human context. That is
yeah.
another way to also like detect in a sense. But I'll tell you for a fact, it's getting harder these days to say you can pinpoint this is AI generated, this is not AI generated. Yeah, I think I was just preparing for this, and one of my research, 97% of listeners in a test sample couldn't figure out if an audio file was AI generated or not. 97%. So there are a lot of people who their ears are now getting acclimatized to accept it as normal. So I can only say maybe for those who are musically trained, when you listen to a track, you can tell, this drums is heavily compressed. This vocals is heavily compressed. There's no dynamic range in this whole mix, and for that is a very very big what's it called way to spot AI music or AI audios. So yeah, these are certain ways to kind of like figure things out.
Wow, wow. I mean, if you put on an Afrobeat Suno, it will give you good Afrobeat vibe.
Hmm.
Hip hop, it will give you good hip hop vibe. I think to some large extent, it can imitate sounds,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, you will tell this is Afro, this is can AI really replicate the soul? One of my friends sent me a message um, on WhatsApp, and he said AI is good, but for gospel music, AI cannot replicate that spirituality in gospel music, especially in gospel music. So, can this really replicate the soul?
Mm.
Knowing fully well that AI can actually replicate the tone, the the technicalities involved in creating a certain genre, but can it replicate the soul in it?
Okay. Thanks for that question. It's a question I've been thinking about also for like a while, considering the whole AI thing. Um, I think the first thing we really want to answer would be like, what exactly is soul? You understand? If you say, can AI replicate the soul, or can AI music contain soulish, components? What exactly are we even really referring to here? Because for some people, what they consider soul is just the emotional high that comes from music. Music, the chords hitting a certain point emotionally. Like, let me ask the question: if the most popular one everyone has been using has been this whole Papa Ute by Stromae, for instance. That's a very
Yes,
popular
man.
one. If you listen to it or not, some people can admit that it has soul. Some people can admit that it doesn't have soul. So I'm going to throw some questions before I start giving my answers. If AI was trained on music that has soul, in a sense, should soul not be a component? You get, or let me put it this way better. If AI was trained on music that has emotional, quality, a quality to it has the capacity to appeal to your emotion, you get. Should AI not be able to that's generated music? Should it not contain that quality? It's like saying let's use other forms of art. So other artists, they've created stuff that they've created artwork that speaks to your soul in a sense. When you look at some AI generated art, they actually do speak to your what you might describe as your soul in a context. So to an extent, yes, and to an extent, no. So let me get quite deeper into these things. First of all, um, we'll look at AI, we'll look at music, then we'll look at soul. With AI, this is data. The human existence is filled up with data. Everything is data. Do you understand? And by data, I mean whether you're thinking about colors, you're thinking about light, you're thinking about sound, everything is data. Our brains, as as a computer, is basically processing millions and billions of data every moment. Your eyes, for instance, is because there's a way your brain works whereby the fact that certain things are now like let me put it this way, your brain doesn't spend enough RAM reprocessing things it's already used to. In our phones we call them cache. You put stuff in your cache, things that you're already like it's already
Yeah.
normal. So if as I'm talking to you now,
No.
I don't have to keep reprocessing the view of my room. My brain has already registered that until a new information comes. Maybe the wall start cracking open now all of a sudden, and with my brain it's new data. So our brains, we can treat them like computer systems whereby they are already processing data. So all the music that we've been listening to all these years, all the movies we've been watching, everything, they've all started at a data processing component. Do you understand? And because AI is in the picture, doesn't change that fact. Do you understand? So the question now comes into when we listen to music, let's look at music in its sense. When you say, okay, this guy is making music that has soul, what does that really, 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 really mean? You know, because um, I think some of us might identify certain music that don't necessarily speak to our soul, even though they are good music. You get. Now, this is I'm not being staying on the religious side yet. I'll go to the religious side next. But let's just look at music in general. So Michael Jackson, writes a song, people are falling down, it's speaking to their soul, there's so much emotional
Yeah.
connection to it. But what exactly is really, really happening in this context? Number one, the same word I just said, context. Context is a very big thing when it comes to music as it stands. And context means a lot of things. When I
Yeah.
understand, there's a reason why Ashake's music might not really speak to a lot of foreigners, even though they dance to it, because they don't understand the struggles of what it means to rise up from the trenches and become something in
Yes,
life.
sir.
Do you understand? So the white guys can dance to it. They are processing what? Data. Do you get? But that Yoruba guy that you're telling, what was it called? I'm trying to, which song can I use now? You know, Alhamdulillah,
Um.
for instance. Let's just assume that you get like, and
Yes.
you're listening
Okay.
to the song. See, what he's listening to is not only just beats. You get? He
Mm.
understands the context, the Nigerian struggle, how suffer be like, shey you get, and what it
Yeah.
means to like the Nigerian story. You want to make it in life, you want to become successful. He can relate to that, and so that is what is driving the emotions that he's feeling with the song, as much as he's still processing the data. So if you are like, let's say you're a Nepo kid, for instance, it's like saying you play, let me say, you play Dangote Still Dey Find Money by Burna Boy. You played for somebody like Bill Gates, for instance. Like, let's be honest. I was speaking to the same number of people. You get what I'm trying to say? So context comes from different forms. The context of how the music was made. That's why you see, for instance, a lot of us get so attached to even the making process of the music in itself. It's like if somebody drops a record right now, it's like I love this record. But the moment they put out a behind the scene, you see how the writing process was going, how they made mistakes, how they tried, they couldn't get it right. They were trying to push through creativity. All of a sudden, you have larger context and you're appreciating the song a little bit much more. Or you do a song and you do like a music video for that song. The music video is now trying to tell the story of the song. I'm saying that whatever thing the song is about, a lot of us relate to the human context. We understand. You get, that's the one part about lyrical music that is really what really touches you as a person, whereby you're like, man, I understand the struggles, I understand heartbreak. You get, I understand what it means to be sick and God heals you. Do you understand? I understand. All
Yeah.
of those things are humanistic context. You get, and so for the most part, if somebody uses AI to write a song, to produce a song, and he efficiently communicates that same context, you will still feel the same thing.
Mm,
You get my point? You will still feel the same
mm,
thing to a significant extent. We've already established that our brains already process all these things as well as data. But what's now touching the emotions is the context of it. So let's call it an emotional context. Now, you would say, okay, what about non-lyrical music? Music where people play stuff, instrumental music and the rest. Well, I'll put it this way. For instrumental music, I have been a, practicing musicians for like a long time, played drums, played piano and the rest. And there are a lot of musicians all over the world. You're an amazing bass player. We have this full global community in a sense, and there are people who don't even play these instruments and they also appreciate it. Now let me tell you what they are actually appreciating. They are appreciating the human condition. So there's a limitation on us as human beings, whereby averagely you should not be able to do the things you do with a bass guitar. Do you understand? It's a limitation. They give you a bass guitar and you are moving at 180 BPM. Like that's it's like it's unthinkable. It's just the same way what is in Usain Bolt running 100 meters in 10 seconds or in 9 seconds. What exactly is it? Like, let's really ask ourselves. There's nothing in it. But I will be wrong to say there's nothing in it because I'm a human being. Just for me to walk from here to junction, I will, I would want to pass out. Do you understand? So when I see somebody doing something that seems
yeah.
to break human limitation, that sets the record straight that hey, we all have this limitation, but we can push past this, and that might come in being able to play the piano at crazy speed, having a level of dexterity, being able to do certain things. So you are wowed by the delivery. At the same time, you're being reminded of the human condition that it's a human that is doing this. In your head, a lot of things are happening to you. You're feeling like, man, anything is possible. You're feeling like, guy, even myself, that's why I might be a basketball player and I'll get inspired by a bass player doing crazy things. It will now motivate me to want to also do crazy things with, like, basketball. Do you understand? And so
Mm,
we are
yeah.
all sharing an emotional context, or we're all sharing a context around human limitations as it stands, whereby seeing somebody play an instrument is what now makes me be like, whoa, like I'm applauding it. On a normal day, it's not anything. Just the same way on a normal day, somebody jumping on 10 what's it called? Yards in long jump is not
Yeah.
anything. Somebody throwing a jab is not anything. You get let 24 and 22 people running on a pitch. It's not anything. until you now understand the human context behind that limitation. When they put you on a 90-meter pitch for football, you now realize that, oh more these guys are, you get what I'm trying to say. All of a sudden you now have an
Of course, of
appreciation,
course.
because if not, we can as
Yes,
well just go and be watching game. That's PS4 or FIFA. We might as well be watching PES or FIFA if the real thing is just watching people move on a pitch. You understand? Because it's still going to give you the
mm,
same outcomes. But no, you would appreciate Ronaldo for what he does because you understand the human limitation to it. You can relate. Do you understand? So,
mm,
how does this affect with AI? It is why even if you generate a jazz fusion track with Suno, for instance, I would appreciate it the same way I appreciate anything I see with my eyes, whether it's AI generated or not. So if I send you an image, the image looks good, I would appreciate it. You understand? But I wouldn't have a level of emotional connection to it. Let me give another example of emotional connection also. You know how songs are tied to memory timelines? There are certain songs I will play right now. It's as if I'm living in a certain time period of my life all over again.
exactly,
Do you
exactly.
understand? Good. So that is no longer just the song on its own. The song is data. Like just take it as its data. It's just ones and zeros. It's just what's it called? Frequency and amplitude. But over the
Mm,
years, that data got mixed with an event, and all of a sudden, I have an emotional attachment to that song, or I will now start having emotional
mm,
attachment to songs like that. So, what I'm saying is, AI also can be capable of providing the or mimicking the data complexities, the complexities that come with frequencies, amplitudes, it's all data, so it can be mimicked. But you see that context whereby, okay, I have listened to the data, but I don't feel something. What I'm not feeling is the human context, like someone is writing in the comment section, the human condition. And as much as musicians are scared about AI as it stands, that is actually our selling point. That is actually our own opportunity, you get, in a sense. And I think I will explain more about that. Then let's bring it to the spiritual angle. What do we as Christians think about something like AI generated corn? That's AI generated porn, so pornography, AI generated. People would think that they are committing sin against God, right?
yes,
I mean, it's if it's AI generated, it should not be ministering something to you now. And if you get my
yes, of
point,
course.
it should not be ministering something to you. If indeed it is AI generated,
Since
it should not minister to you. That's a simple way I like answering the question. It's sad I have to go that far sometimes, but it's just so I can help people have like a level of like that distinction to see that the man as an entity is complex. Everything that God has created in a sense can minister to the man. Do you understand? When you really look at it,
yeah,
palm wine or alcohol is alcohol, it's just chemical. Do you understand? But somewhere in that chemical, consuming that chemical is something that can lead to affecting your soul. Do you understand? It's just a compound.
mm,
There are so many other compounds that you cannot take. Do you understand? So where exactly is that consumption of that compound that will not cause you to sin? You've not taken the alcohol and then you now start behaving and you now do things that has now affected your soul. This is what I would say. When you understand the soul component and understand that everything in the material world has the capacity to
mm,
both influence the soul and be influenced from the soul. So I'll take that again. When we say in the material world, People only think about things they can touch tangibly as things that are in the material world. Meanwhile, there are so many other things that are still in the material world that you can't touch tangibly. For instance, we are having a conversation right now. Now, this conversation that we're having is riding on electromagnetic waves. Okay? But just the same way as a preacher, so a preacher can minister healing on the wings of that electromagnetic waves, all the streaming that we're streaming. Do you get? Same way, people can also, for lack of better word, commit sin on the wings of that electromagnetic waves. But all of this is happening within what? The material world context. But they are having impact on what? On our soul. Do you understand? As it were, you get. So it's not the vibration of the air that is literally ministering to your soul. It's the intention of the person what at the other end. Somebody instituted the vibration, quite all right. Do you understand? Somebody instituted the vibration. Just the same way, if all of us remove our hands from the keyboard, AI music will not generate itself. I don't think AI has gotten to a point whereby
Definitely.
it will create the music and not send to us. Somebody has to generate the music. So the question is, what is the sole intent of this person that is generating this music? So this person who's generating this music now, is he ministering life? My brother, if he's ministering life, whether it's AI music, you will receive life. Because why? Let's go back to our first question. AI generated porn will minister death. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. It's just the same way I
Exactly.
can say I generated a video. I generated a video
Exactly.
now. I generated a video. I'm telling a story, but that story in it still has the components to minister life or minister, what's it called? Life to my soul. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So when you really, really, really think about it from this context, you now understand that what's more important are the people behind the scenes that are generating the stuff. Music has never been about the sound that we made. And that was what in church has tried to emphasize quite a long time. It has never really been about the sound that we made in a sense. The sound had always been a conveyor belt for something else. And it seems like we are now forgetting about that because of AI in itself.
That's deep.
Music has never been about the sound that we make. What is in, playing, 251s unless you mix it with something from your soul. That is why sometimes even you as a musician, you can't give what you don't have. You get. So in church
Yeah.
music, they will tell you about being consecrated and all of that. If you even come to church and your heart is not there, it would reflect even though you are playing all the right things. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, I like to look at it from this angle that, see, the people who are behind how the music gets made is what is the litmus test for what is being communicated on the soul. What I mean is this. So I'm saying that even if an unbeliever generates gospel music, he will not minister to you. I don't get what I'm trying to say. It won't minister life in that context. If you get what I'm trying to say, because it has never been about the music.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
same way we would have cases of saying a secular artist now does gospel music, and we now say, okay, it's gospel music now. So my best advice is this is a very good opportunity to lean on our what makes us different, what makes us unique, and that's being human. So I usually say this when I give these talks that the way we would win the one thing AI is very terrible at is being a human being. And being a human being means it comes with its upsides and it comes with its downsides. And so I'll give an example. So I'm a bass player and I'm being concerned about AI music. Well, here's the thing. When you play bass, when you perform, people, like I had explained earlier, people connect with you They don't just connect with you because you play a set of notes. I mean, they can as well go online and type generate bass solo for
Mm,
me, and they will listen to a bass solo and they'll be fine. Do you understand? But there is something about us being human, and that's what we are social animals. We like to live in clusters. Our lives are interconnected. It's very hard to find a human that is somewhere isolated from the rest of the pack. And so, leveraging on that as a musician is one of the ways you can start setting yourself up financially. How do I mean? Live concerts, man. People want to have experiences. People want to,
yeah,
they don't music is going to go beyond just being able to. I mean, why would a top charting artist come for a live concert and still come and sing his song on the concert? Do you understand? And people are still jumping and shouting, and they are still raving about it because people crave live experiences. You understand? It does something to
mm,
us. It's part of we being human. And so if you are a musician, you should already be thinking about how you can build a brand that can push your ability to play live music as a way to stand out. Shout out to guys like, Cavemen, who over the years they have now shown that Nigerians really, really have a deep appreciation for live music. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That's your playing of the drums. It
yeah,
does something to people that AI music can never do, to be honest,
actually.
especially if you are good at it. And why is that the human condition? Because just watching you play the drums, I am being reminded of the limitation I have as a human being. And at the same time, I am seeing somebody surmounting that limitation. And at the same time, I am thrilled and wowed by it. Do you understand? And that's like a full
Mm,
total package,
yes, sir.
and that's something that we can all leverage from. So post your content, man. Keep building your personal profile, your personal brand as a musician. People want to watch you play. People want to see you play. They want to hear you play. They want to even come and experience you play in person. And that's why I'm going to make a prediction that there is not going to be a decline in live music consumption, but there's going to be an incline in live music consumption over the years. You will see more concerts, you see more consumption of live music because now it's like digital music production can now be. People don't want to live in a world whereby they are debating, is this AI, is this not AI? Like that thing in your head.
People want to
People
see it
they, they, don't,
quickly.
they wouldn't want to live in that kind of world. I can say that for a fact. You get, and that is an
Yeah.
opportunity rather than a problem. You get, because believe me, it's like saying, let's do a test. Let's generate music with AI, gather people, and just put it on speaker and play and see whether people would listen. Not really. People would not. You get, it is the life, is the human
Mm.
factor. The human factor is so crazy that we still need a DJ, even with all our streaming platforms that we have these days.
Exactly,
Why don't you?
exactly,
What
exactly.
do I'm not here to dunk on DJs. I love DJs so much, but let's give an example. What do DJs do? Why don't we just go to a party or an event or a concert and just plug in let's say we plug in Spotify and just play it, and let's listen to Spotify, and all of us would dance
It's-
a playlist. Exactly. We would not. We want to listen to a DJ. We want to experience somebody's mind. Do you understand? We want to feel somebody, we want to feel a connection
Yeah,
with somebody at the
yeah.
end, at the other end. That's why I love this lady that is bored currently, that does a lot of like mixes in Lagos. Um, there's this particular DJ. Now, so it, her transitions, they are like, you hear things and you're wowed by it. These are things that AI can do, but if AI does them in the
Mm,
sense, it's still not going to create that necessarily effect. Your the real thing is you are trying to
right.
connect with another human being. Music is just a means of connecting.
Yes,
Do you understand? So musicians should leverage
yes, sir.
on it. You get. Number two, there is a big gap right now in policy making, in AI policy. The laws that we have as humanity, we're still figuring out this new technology. It is very important that we have more. musicians in the space when it comes to AI policy making for music. The more musicians that we
Mm.
have there, the more we can say, okay, our voices are going to be heard. You get, we have people who can relate, people who, you know what it means like to sit down behind a piano and learn how to, play a scale at, 180 BPM. You know how long it took you. Somebody is not going to just come and just rip that out from
Mm.
you because the person is feeling bad that they didn't have time to learn music. That's not my fault. That's not my problem to deal with. You understand? And so if the person
Okay.
does not value it, it doesn't mean you should not value it because you understand what it takes. And so we need a lot of musicians in the policy space when it comes to dictating the laws that guide the use of AI for music. So we can go
Mm.
online, we can check
Mm.
different forums, we can find places where your voice is needed, where you can, we need musicians to really band up together. If you we do not, certain persons are going to get away with certain things. Companies collecting what's it called? What do you call it? Music data from all musicians, and then they use the data for whatever they want to do. So the more we have musicians that are able to speak to the what's it called, the way the laws affect them in regards to this AI thing, the more you can be sure that okay, in the coming years to come, the conditions or the situations of things will be more addressed to suit us as musicians. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So another thing also I can give as
Mm.
advice to
Yeah.
musicians
Yeah. Yeah.
is in terms of you have to protect your work. It's no longer just going to be a case of the people who I think try to protect their work might be, the guys who are recording songs, the guys who are releasing albums. But see, as long as you create creative work, it is very important that you go learn how to protect your work, register everything, copyright your songs, copyright your arrangements, copyright your
Mm.
videos. Do you understand? Copyright your stuff. If you don't copyright them, you can't make a claim in court later on. Okay? So do your best to make sure that you're copywriting your assets that you're releasing. Register with the publishing companies that you should be registering with. ASCAP is there, BMI is there, Sound Exchange is there. Just make sure that you register yourself in terms of anything that you're creating is having an intellectual imprint on it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there are certain ways you can decide to opt out your data from being trained. So there are certain AI scrapers that go around the internet picking data from people's sites, people's platforms. And there are ways whereby you can block those AI scrapers. If you are saying, I don't want my work to be used to train these AI models. So you can do more research around how do I opt out from this in a sense. But at the end of the day, it's like sometimes I don't really even encourage that. Why I say so is because unless all musicians opt out, it's that case of it's same thing we've been struggling with in music with the whole head mentality thing, whereby you have about 100 musicians now, and one of them wants to start charging $10,000, but 99 decides to do it for $100, and you that you say you are charging 10,000, nobody would patronize you again. They just go and meet the other 99 guys. You get so, but unless we're having the full
Exactly.
99 saying that, well, this is my worth, this is my charge for things, you get. And so opting out might, if it helps your conscience, no problem, decide to opt out, you get. Then the third thing I would say is this:
Mm.
your contracts. Whenever you're signing contracts, make sure you are including a clause for how it gets used by AI. If you want it to, include it and indicate how you intend to get paid for it, or that you would love to get remunerated. I'm saying all of this because if you eventually find yourself in a case whereby you want to go maybe have like a what's it called, illegal disputes over illegal use of your work, but you don't have all of these initial documents as form of backing, it would your work would fall under that whole case of you never indicated that you didn't want to use it. You never said that you didn't want your work to be used
Mm.
for training AI. So you don't exactly have a
Exactly.
case here. You get, because most people, it's almost like it's when the song now starts making money that you now come back and be like, hey, that's my stuff that you guys are using. You get, like, and it's like, are there any legal
That's
documents that you have
so
said,
rampant.
yeah, are there any legal documents that you have written that you says that for my work, if my work is used for training AI, I want to get paid for it, that type of stuff. And currently the technology that
Yeah.
we have at the moment is still being improved in a sense whereby we're working on something whereby we can have digital tags for our creative work or our IP or our digital IP in a sense. So digital IP is still something that is still
Mm.
being worked on, whereby if I use 50,000 songs to create like an AI model, let's say like Suno, for instance, I had to train it on 50,000 data. All of those 50,000 have unique identifiers, whereby if you generate a song at the other side, that song might have pulled elements from, one of the 50,000. And it
Yeah,
now be possible for you to go back and say,
exactly.
okay, this particular song made use of this song, this song, this song, this song, this song, this song. And as such,
Yeah,
they are
models of
mandated.
those
Yeah,
ones.
they are mandated to receive, something. Because let's really be honest, that this AI track used somebody's data, somebody's song. Who? You understand? Who? We all play the same
Yeah.
chords to an extent, We all play the same beats to an extent. We all play the same instruments. You get, so
Mm.
sometimes it can be really hard to now say, are you sure? How are you sure that it's your own song, gong gong gong, that was used in this particular thing that was, generated in a sense? You wouldn't be able to tell. So even the technology is still trying to improve. That's why somebody like myself, I like playing in that space as somebody who wants to like contribute, you know, to the advancement in these things, because to be honest, AI is here to stay. Let nobody tell you otherwise. AI is here to stay, but how we navigate it is going to require a level of involvement, and that's why I like the fact that we are having these conversations. So yeah, that's my advice
So
for musicians.
I want to say big, big thank you to you, Mr.
You're
Destiny,
welcome. You're
for
welcome, bro.
joining the live. And this AI thing, we are still gonna come back to it, and Mr. Destiny is still going to come back. To be honest with you, because we have not let me say we're not exhaust 50% of what he has. I know everything he's saying is because I mean we are time bound. All right, so thank you everyone. So see you next week. Thank you, Mr. Destiny. God bless you. God bless everyone.
Bye. Bye,
All
guys.
right,
Have a
bye.
great week.